Welcome back to another video. This is Corey with TCG Equity, and today we're going to be talking about why Fusion World is undervalued compared to the giant One Piece and other TCGs. So before we get started, I do want to announce that my Patreon is up and running. Inside the Patreon is the community Discord, extra content, and more plays of the day. And on top of that, I am also offering consultation services. So if you're interested, please look at the link in the description below. And we're still going to do our typical market watch, but it's going to be shortened a little bit because I do want to expand on this point of why Dragon Ball Fusion World is so undervalued. So let's get started. This is a screenshot from Open Mango's video. So Open Mango is a YouTuber that does Dragon Ball content. Please check him out. He has very good stuff. This is a screenshot from his latest video that he compiled. So this data is from eBay sales, number of items sold, number of pages, average sale price that he gave, and the market cap used for average sale price. Okay, now these are very, very rough numbers, but I do want to agree with these numbers. And on top of that, I do appreciate someone taking the time and effort to put in numbers like this together so we can kind of have something to have a basis off of, so we can analyze and further project and speculate out with some type of number, some type of fact, instead of just saying that, oh my God, guys, artwork is so beautiful, this is gonna go 10x, guys, because of artwork. Oh, right, we're not gonna do that. Even though I love doing that, I'm a human too. Everyone loves doing that. We're going to try to go make things as analytical and based off of numbers as much as we can. So let's use these numbers. As far as I can tell, obviously Pokemon's the biggest one, and we already all know this. We don't need to go through it. MTG, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The big three. There is talks about One Piece coming in here now being big three, but based off these numbers, it's going to still take a while, right? Yu-Gi-Oh is still far, far above One Piece. And the thing is, with the limit over collection, if you guys are my Patreon subscriber, I told you guys that the limit over collection was going to be a big hit, and it seems like it is. The serial numbered Yu-Gi-Oh cards are going for insane. If you guys still want to try to pre-order, do whatever you can to get boxes. But me and the guys were already in a little bit ago. But if you can still find pre-order boxes, I would suggest probably look into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Limit Over Collection. Those serial cards are going crazy right now. And also, the boxes are going to retain value because of the idea that there's a lottery ticket inside of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the market caps here and use these numbers as facts. So market cap for Fusion World is 142,500. One Piece is 920,000. So we're going to have to figure out size. How much is One Piece bigger than Fusion World? Very, very simple. We take the 920,000, we'll just shorten it up saying 920, and we divide it by the Fusion World market. So One Piece is essentially 6.5 times larger than Fusion World, okay? But let's look at a couple things. Now that we've established this fact, what I do want to point out is look at Masters. Masters is look at Fusion World is 10 times bigger on the number items sold, and look at market cap. Almost 15 times bigger for Fusion World. So Masters is a slight dead market based just off these numbers. Slightly a dead market. Only some God rares and top stuff are getting shuffled around. But when you see it like this, like, oh man, if you're holding Master stuff, I'd be very careful here, because once liquidity drops and people just aren't interested anymore, you might not be able to cash out your $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 God rares. So just be very careful for Master stuff, okay? I know a lot of you guys want me to talk about it, but I don't want to bring up Master stuff because I don't want to encourage people to sink in money to something that I think might disappear, not disappear overnight, not go to zero, but more likely volume and liquidity comes down. It's going to be, and you're going to be somewhat of a bag holder. Even if you think that the artwork is nice, you might be a little bit of a bag holder because there's just not people going to be interested in spending that type of money. Okay, now let's move on. So we've established that One Piece is 6.5 times larger than Fusion World. Now let's use that as a real world example for the actual stuff, right? The TCG. So let's use this for an example. This sold about a month ago. This is One Piece's OP01. And if you guys don't know about One Piece, let me bring you up to speed real quick. OP01 is exactly what it sounds like. It is the very first set for One Piece, okay? And this is the blue bottom version. So blue bottom is the true first wave. So this is the first run, first wave. The booster boxes for OP01 have a blue bottom. So the second wave has a white. So when you turn around, the white is the second wave. So blue bottoms obviously is first wave, and the first wave has a chance of the pre-errata card. Pre-errata card means that the text inside of the cards, they sometimes have an error. And this is the error right here. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can. This is OP01 leader card Luffy, and this is the error right here. You see set 1 it's supposed to say set up to 1, okay? Since you see it as set 1, or we all see it as set 1, this is a pre-errata Luffy, and asking is $8,500. I think last sold was around 7,000, so it's somewhere in this area. $100,000, okay? You get a case of Blue Bottom pre-errata, and you also have a chance at this Luffy, and let's talk about the manga too. Here's the manga, $47.50 for a PSA 10. This OP01 Shanks, right? This is a PSA 10 asking for around 45, 5,000, somewhere there. Now, when I look at this is such a big discrepancy because you're like, wait a second, the manga is not even $5,000, and the actual errata card, the error card, the special card that people would want is not even 10K. Why is this so much? Well, that's the thing. This is the hype bubble that we're kind of getting into. See, the hype for One Piece is right here. The blue bottom. The fact that the bottom of the boxes is blue, the fact that it's a sealed case, and the fact that it has a chance for a pre-errata card. All of these facts come up to 100K, which this is insane to me. Like, why would you pay $100,000 for a chance at the errata card, for the cardboard on the bottom to be blue, and for this case to have a sealed, when you can just buy the card? Look, the Shanks, just buy the Shanks and just buy the Luffy, and you save what, $85,000, $90,000. This is kind of the mental bubble that I don't understand with One Piece. Now, we apply this same logic, right, to Fusion World. Now let's look. We are going to use SBO1 as the primary example because I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that this is probably going to be the main set for Dragon Ball Fusion World. Even though FB01 technically is the first real set, we're going to use SB01, okay? Now, let's look. A case of FB01 is asking $8,000, but we're going to use the $7,000 number because this is kind of what I've been seeing for last sold on eBay and here on TCG. So about $7,000 for a case of this. So it's what? This is about 12 times bigger. Okay, so this case is 12 times bigger than this SB01 case. But let's look at what you can get on the inside. Check this out. So on SB01, a yellow Goku sold for $7,500 at the same time. Look, the same day that case, that One Piece case sold, $7,500. So you can still see here the value of a case. It's still undervalued, right? Because look, the chase card itself is only $7,500 compared to this stuff right here. Look, $8,500. Can we say it's the same? Can we say that the pre-errata card and yellow Goku is about the same, right? 75, 8,000, sure. And then when you look, the Shanks is $47.50, but let's look at the other chase card for SBO1. So this listing sold yesterday or 2 days ago at about 5 in the morning, $42.25, full price. These are the two chase cards for SBO1. Dino Goku at BGS 10, PSA 10, whatever, close enough, and yellow Goku, $7,500. I know that there's one that sold for 10K earlier, but I don't want to include that because it was a zero feedback seller and it didn't have authenticity guarantee. So I don't want to use that as a real sale for the purpose of this video. And if we want to look, a raw copy sold a couple days ago at a full $5,000. Like, Jesus Christ, my God, it's just getting a little bit too insane. I understand this car is beautiful. Obviously, I have it, but my God, 5K this fast. Anyway, let's go on back. Okay, so to reiterate, yellow Goku is about $75,000, $8,000. And the Dino Goku, the other chase card, the one that's probably more rare, it went for $42.25. So when you look at these numbers, $42.25 and $7,500, they're very close to the One Piece number, right? $47.50 for the OP01 Shanks, the main manga, and then the other chase card is the pre-errata, $8,500. You're like, wow, that's actually very, very, very close in price, right? Yeah, exactly. There's very close in price. But when you look at the case price, why is this case price the same amount as like a condo or like a small little townhouse somewhere? Like, you're trading a townhouse for a brown box with some damage on it. And this thing doesn't even look nice to display on your shelf. This is like you just set it somewhere in your closet and you forget. See, this is like the lunacy of this. Like, my God, really 100,000? So the point is that I think Fusion World, when we use this example for this brown box right here, the OP01 case, this thing could potentially skyrocket. If we want to use a 6.5 times, okay, we go 7,000. We'll go last sold for SB01. We times that by the 6.5. Let's say Dragon Ball and One Piece, they're like this. They're even neck and neck in TCG. What does this look like? Let's see. So this case of SB01 could potentially be $45,000. That's right, $45,000. This to me makes sense. Because of the fact that the chase cards inside are so goddamn much. Like the Dino is already four. I think this is a lower sale. I think the highest we ever saw was $5,500 for Dino, and this is one of the highest sold too. Judging based off the singles and the chase card, PSA 10, BGS 10 selling for this much, this thing is now lagging behind. The sealed cases are now lagging behind, right? Because if we're just using the same logic as One Piece, or we use the same logic that this thing went for 100K. And I know what everyone's saying. Oh, but this is the first case. There's not that many out there. It's so scarce. Yeah, I understand that. We all know this, okay? We all know this. But we're using based off of the sale number, based off of it being OPO1. We use SPO1, and we're using the singles inside of it. That's kind of the logic we're going with. And we're using Open Mango's numbers of market cap, of what the difference is and what the difference can be. So here's a small projection. So we go, let's say that Fusion World, we want Fusion World to be half of One Piece's market. Let's have a conservative, like realistic projection here. I don't want to go and put Fusion World's going to be a $1 million market cap. I don't want to do that. We're just going to be conservative. So let's say 920. So this is 920, the One Piece market, and we're going to divide by 2, and we're going to say that we want Fusion World to be half of One Piece. So that's 460. And we go ahead and we divide this by the 142. So technically, Fusion World can grow by 3.25. So we use this number 3.25. We use 3.25 and we'll apply it to SBO1. So we go $7,000 and we times it by 3.25 because we think that Dragon Ball Fusion World can come up to at least half of what One Piece is. So projected price for this case can be over $20,000. There we go. Conservative projected price. This is assuming that Bandai prints a lot of FB09. This is assuming that Bandai releases SBO3, keep the momentum train going. This is assuming that everything goes well with the anime. The next video game release for Sparking Zero 2, it might be another couple years, but this is assuming that everything goes well. This case can probably hit over 20K, and the chase cards inside are probably going to go even higher. So 7,500 seems like a lot now, but in the future, with the anime coming back as a foundation, right? Remember, this is all built off of a foundation. Dragon Ball now has the anime, right? We already know the game is a killer. One Piece will never catch up on the game. And for everybody saying, oh, well, One Piece's game department is just so untapped. Wrong. One Piece has tried to make video games for so long, and it's just not good, all right? And keep in mind, I have One Piece holdings. I have a lot. I still have a lot. I sold off a lot, but I still have a lot. I still have holdings, and I'm telling you that One Piece games are just not good. And you don't even have to listen to me. You can go and play them. If you grew up with some video games, you already know that Dragon Ball completely dominates that market. And when we look at it from the movie standpoint, right? We look at it from a movie standpoint, more people were going to Dragon Ball movies than One Piece. I do expect to see maybe a slight flip in the future because of all the marketing and advertisement for One Piece. So the average person is going to bandwagon a little bit, and they're going to go, oh, Luffy, okay, we're going to go to the movies, even though they weren't really fans of Luffy and the Pirate. They were more so fans of Dragon Ball. They were fans of Pokemon, right? It's just a bandwagon thing. But anyway, going back to the point of the IPs is that the IPs are so similar, right? If you go back to one of my other videos, One Piece versus Dragon Ball, the IP in terms of Bandai Financial Report is very, very similar. When you take off the idea of advertisement, right? You take off advertisement, you take off marketing, you take off the fact that a lot of these influencers and a lot of these big celebrities are talking about One Piece. You take that all away and you strip it down to consumer confidence, which is Bandai's financial report. Dragon Ball and One Piece are very close. Actually, Dragon Ball outsells One Piece by quite a margin for last year, right? Because of the video game. But video game is what? It's consumer confidence, right? Anybody can watch TV shows. Anybody can go and pirate different things, but it's about consumer confidence. And do you know why it's about consumer confidence? It's because we are in the TCG space, right? It's things that people buy, right? Whether it's licensing rights or if it's trading cards, right? It's things that people buy. So when you look at it from this standpoint, that, hey, look, the IPs are very, very close, and these chase cards are commanding an insane amount. Basically the same as One Piece now, right? They're basically the same when you look at it. So when you look at it from that standpoint, $20,000 for SBO1, very, very easy. And this is the assumption that Fusion World only becomes half of what One Piece market is. That's all. All right, let's get to today's market watch. I think we understand the point now about Fusion World versus One Piece and why Fusion World's undervalued. Now, when we go on last sold, we scroll down. There is some insane sales all the time now for Fusion World. But there's something that's very good that I like to see, which is these Gojitas sell. So these 222 Gojitas, Very nice. We see some sell every week, basically. Eventually, these are going to get, we're going to see some from PSA and BGS, and I'm really curious to see if we get a black label. I'm very excited to see a black label Gogeta and see how much it sells for. But when we look, there's a lot of stuff to go over. So there's one thing that I want to go over first real quick, which is this case right here, this Dragon Ball card game Masters Fearsome Rival. Now, please do not mistake this for Fusion World's Rival Clash, okay? This seller put Fusion World in the title, and I don't know if he's intentionally trying to mislead new people, but this is not Fusion World. B29 Fearsome Rivals is part of Masters, and let's just go through this real quick. I don't know if he meant to buy Rivals Clash, but here is Rivals Clash. This is Rivals Clash. This is Fusion World Rivals Clash, and this is Fearsome Rivals from Masters. I don't know if he intentionally put Fusion World to deceive new people, but judging based off of Open Mango's reports, right, Masters is such a smaller market cap that you might have to put Fusion World in your title to maybe get some type of attention if we want to use these numbers again as facts, okay? So just remember that there's different, that just because title says Fusion World doesn't mean it is. So you have to be very careful, okay? Now, let's go and talk about some of the stuff that's been selling, which is right here. A Wish for Shenron case sold for $2,900. Very good deal. We're starting to see the floor here, easily $3,000 now, easily $3,000 now for a case of Wish for Shenron. And this is a very nice box too. Look at that. Very beautiful looking box. Very good. Under $3,000. Very nice. Moving on to the Mini Goku. The 553 number selling for, I'm assuming probably 2,000. I don't feel like pulling up the 130 point. We can just assume around 2,000, right? Next up is a FB01, the God Rare from FB01. The kind of looks like a ghost rare. I don't know why, but I like looking at this card like a ghost rare because it has that effect to me. But going for $3,000 as expected, fair market value these days. Very good, very nice pickup. I do want to get one myself. And right here we have another Mini Goku, and this one is actually a very good number, 103, 107, only going for around 3,000 USD. So this is a very good deal for whoever got it. Very nice. I would prefer numbers like this too, in the smaller, lower digits like this. And the best Broly sold 2 days ago. Another one sold for $4,000. Very, very nice pickup. Again, if you're a Broly fan, you need to consider this card. I think this is such a grail for your collection, especially if you're, a Broly fan. Very nice, very vibrant in person, right? This picture doesn't really do it justice, but very good card, very good pickup. And for $4,000, this isn't really going to mean much in the grand scheme of things. In the long run, I don't think 4,000 is that much for the best Broly in Fusion World. I don't see this changing either. Like, they can come out with new Broly poses. I know the starter deck one, I think from starter deck 10, a lot of people like that card. But in terms of like commanding the best Broly card in the entire Dragon Ball, I think this one's it. It's not going to be the starter deck, even though the starter deck one is good. Moving on to Yellow Goku, an insane sale of $5,000 for a raw copy. This one does have some reviews with authenticity guarantee, so we are going to see this as a real sale. And this isn't so outrageous. Like, even though it's $5,000 and it is an insane number, this isn't outrageous because the PSA 10s and BGS 10s are now crossing that $7,000, $8,000 mark. So we'll probably maybe see $10,000 here soon for this Yellow Goku. I don't know when, right? I don't want to say like buy now, sell for. I don't want to say any of that. Again, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is just a speculative analyst channel that I try to use facts to come to conclusions. So $5,000 for this card is is crazy, but this card does look very, very nice. I mean, it's a very nice looking card. Send it into PSA, BGS. I mean, what was the pop count for this card? Like, still less than 100. And once all these gets graded, like, how many is left, right? You got to keep that in mind. There's not a lot of these, and this is the chase card from SB01, or one of them. And again, Dino Goku selling for $42.25. This is actually a good deal. Because we saw PSA 10s go for over 5K, so this is a pretty good deal. A very, very, very good pickup. I have 2 of them myself, right? So I am in, and I would buy more if I could. I'll even buy Japanese because I think the Japanese ones are not just as good, but I think in the future will also retain value because the English ones will go for so much that it's only a matter of time. Wow, look at this. 20 BGS 10s and only 1 black label. Oh, you know what? The guy that has his black label had it for like 75,000 here on eBay. I don't remember seeing it. Did he sell it or something? Maybe he sold it private. If somebody knows what happened to that black label Dino, please put it in the comment section below. I'm very curious to see what happened. because I would like mine to be BGS 10. I already shipped it off to Beckett, so we'll see what it gets. But I would like mine to be at least a 10. Like Black Label, I'm not too sure, but at least a 10. Like I'll join these 20 guys right here. I'm fine with it. You know, please no 9.5 though. that would that would really make me kind of sad. Now, moving on to pointy boma. I know some guys like to say nipple boma, but I think that's a little bit too much. So we'll just say pointy boma. 2250, which is expected. Actually, this is kind of low considering that the Japanese one sold for kind of close. This Japanese one's like almost 1800. So for this to go, for you to pay an extra 400 to get a BGS 10 in English, I think that's a good deal. Moving on to, oh, is this the same listing? Oh no, oh, this is two different listings, and they both sold on the 27th. Wow. Same thing here. Not 25, but we can assume somewhere in the 22, 23s. Oh, right here, 2250. Okay. Very good. Next up is we have the SBO2 chase card, the Childhood Gohan. One sold, probably around this price, around $2,000, which is about right. When we see other listings, other solds. The English one is, I think, approaching 3K now, and we should see it past 3K pretty soon. Next up, another God Rare from FBO1. This one sold for 2,100 euro, right? 2,100 euro, which is what, 2,700 USD. So very good, almost 3K. So this card is 2,500 to 3K range. Very nice. The Ghost Rare, right? And the Vegito. This one sold for full price at $2,700, I think, which is a new high. We see this card go for around 15 to 2,000. So 2,700 now is a new all-time high for this BGS 10. And lastly, for our eBay sales for today is going to be my favorite energy marker, which is the E42. This one sold for the full $4,000 for the raw copy. So we're seeing these cards really jump now. We were seeing like $2,800, $2,000 sales. Now we're seeing a double because the market is now very hungry for these cards that are never going to get reprinted, right? They're just never going to get reprinted. And this is, remember, this is a part of Fusion World, the main game for Dragon Ball. So a lot of people are now, this information is catching up. This is why we're starting to see these bigger sales, bigger jump in price. And I'm very curious. Like, what is a PSA 10 going to go for? I don't think I saw an auction for one, but if someone did, please let me know. I want to know what a PSA 10 will go for, because I know the all-time high for the BGS is 6,600. I'm very curious to see how long it'll take for this card to approach 10K for a BGS or PSA 10. And let's go through TCGPlayer a little bit and see what we have here. Let's make it a little interesting. Let's go best selling. Very nice. So best selling, a lot of the stuff kind of hasn't changed. It's still the same. Let's see here. SBO2 still has a lot of volume. 16. Wow, look at this. A bunch are going. 380. We're approaching 400. Like, look at this, $380. So we're approaching $400 really fast for Manga Booster 2. And don't forget, okay, so even though it's the second one, it's still a Manga Booster, and the singles are very, very nice. Almost everything is very nice in here. Very, very good. And when we go back and we look at Sleepy Goku here, and just look at this chart, just straight up. Wow. Oh my, people are buying it at 850. Jesus Christ. I understand this is good. This is really good artwork, but man, there has to be a breaking point. Like, you know, when people are like, hey, this card is so nice, I need to have it. Like, what's your breaking point? Remember, like, some logic has to come in. Like, this is only a secret rare. It's just a single star secret rare. um I don't know. I mean, I guess people are willing to pay what they're willing to pay, but you have to kind of bring it back to reality a little bit. Like, hey, look, this is just a single star secret rare, and you're paying almost $1,000 for this. You know, why not put that money towards maybe a raw copy of a 2-star that might, you know, you might have more room to grow there, versus it's still a single star secret rare. So I don't know. I don't want to tell you guys not to buy this. Do whatever you want. I know the artwork is beautiful, but man, that price starts to get ridiculous. And if we continue on, this is very good. You're seeing a lot of the smaller stuff keep selling. When we look at, wow, look, people are buying into, oh my God, like people are buying $400 boxes of FBO9. This is really bad. So looking at Fusion World, FBO9. This is bad. Like you should not be buying in at 35, $3,800. It just you shouldn't, because this is a new set that is just dropping, and they're more than likely going to reprints. When you overpay for these boxes, I mean, there's probably more so no equity for you. This is not something that I recommend, and I'm trying to tell everybody, hey, look, pull back your money a little bit, look at different other opportunities. Just don't be buying this stuff at 4 or 500, because what you're doing is you're also telling these shops that you are so desperate for stuff you're willing to spend 400, almost over $400 for something that's not even out yet. So it's getting ridiculous, and I'm trying to tell as many people as I can, hey, just pull back. Like, it doesn't matter how good the artwork is. It doesn't really matter about any of it. At the end of the day, the monetary factor of this, I think, is too overbearing. Okay, so just pull back a little bit, be very careful with things, and just wait until reprints come. Just wait, and once reprints come, this drops a little bit more, and then there's going to be more buying opportunities, more opportunities to rip the box without having to take such a big loss if you don't hit anything inside the box. Okay, this is very hard to justify as an investment because this is part of the main line, and on top of that, it's more likely going to get reprinted. Okay, that concludes today's market watch and topic. This is Core with TCG Equity. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.